What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to 5-9 Gaming. We are here with a couple guests, and we're going to talk about the new My Hero Academia Ultra Impact. Not Instinct, Ultra Impact. Got it right that time. But either way, we're going to be talking about that, what the game is actually about, and what we can expect from this game as well in the future. But welcome, Gail and Gacha.
Hello, everybody. I'm looking forward to talking about one of two Gacha games that are coming out in the next year. This has been in the plans for a very long time from what I've been hearing, so high expectations. Well, I wouldn't say extremely high expectations, but definitely high expectations considering the previous two MHA games.
Hey, everybody, Gacha Talks here. It's a pleasure to be here, Idris. Thanks for bringing me on. It's always a good time coming on the channel. Yeah, just like Gail said, I have mixed opinions on, the new game coming out, but I do have my hopes a bit high because they've had a lot of time to get this going, and who knows, this might be like the next big Gacha game. Everything's looking pretty good so far, and I'm excited to start talking about it.
I think with every new release of a gacha, they always have that initial hype, and then eventually kind of simmers off and kind of peaks out and stuff like that. But we haven't even seen this game yet. This game does release in 2021 in Japan. No idea of a global release. Hopefully there will be one. We'll talk about that as we go on. But what Ultra Impact actually is a 3v3 casual turn-based game. The story is based around the anime. And we're probably going to be going through like all the anime arcs as the game progresses, probably similar to how like Dokkan kind of implemented the quest line, as they went along until they finished. In terms of multis, we're going to get 500 gems per multi and 10 units of multi. You'll be able to collect like special illustration for characters, heroes, and villains. We'll also get customizable bases, which you get, I believe, 2, which is the hero classroom and the villain hideout. There's going to be a USJ training area, as well as the beta applications are now open. So any thoughts about any of that?
Yeah, so my biggest thing was I'm not the biggest fan of the turn-based style. We talked about it a bunch of times with Gail, that the only thing that I hope that they don't do, and I completely agree with what Gail was mentioning, was I hope it's not RNG-based for the card system. I hope that you get to, kind of be able to pick the same thing over and over if you choose to do so. I'm not a huge fan of how they do that in Grand Cross, but that would be like the only thing that I would like them to do with that 3v3 turn-based style.
Adding on to what Gacha said, I'm hoping it's similar to how an actual turn-based RPG is kind of like how, for example, if I'm comparing it to any other Gacha game, for example, Danmachi Memoria Freeze, effectively, each unit will have 3 skills, ideally, maybe 1 special attack, and you can pretty much operate on your own wishes and how you want to play the unit, in terms of what skill you want to use, when you want to use it, which turn you want to use it, and so on and so forth. From the initial images, it does seem to be that there's going to be some form of not necessarily randomness affected to it. It's going to be very simplified, where it's only like 2 to 3 taps maybe you do on each character for what you want them to do for that turn. But nonetheless, still hopes are relatively high in terms of there being some form of like, not necessarily skill, but some form of like, what you're kind of doing, rather than the game does a lot of it for you, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. In terms of the story, I think it's probably going to lead up to season 5, right? For the most part, from what we could
in terms of the beta, it goes up to, I think, chapter 4, which it's Hosu.
Cool. So that's cool. So we'll have plenty of content that regard, and of course we have the movies that they could always implement to the game as well. So that's always cool. And I guess they could do what if stories. I mean, a lot of other Gacha games have been doing that. What do you guys think they'll do something like that?
It's possible. I mean, they can do it for events and stuff. I think that'll be more so what they'll do, rather than applying it to the actual storyline. I think that's the best way to implement like what if stories as well. They could do reruns in the future of like what if stories. Like, for example, I know I think Smash Tap had a summer banner, of course, so they could do like summer banners and have like a summer event for where the units or the characters go to the beach, and then something happens with the villains, or a Halloween event or something along those lines. They could easily do what if stories for the events, which would be amazing. Um, Carrying on from there, I do think the story will at least initially go up for. They won't cover a lot of the story. I think season one will be the best we get on release, maybe.
Yeah.
And I think that they're gonna hold off because that'll allow them to give themselves some gap between the anime being released and the game actually progressing through the story. Because if they start at season 5, we probably might not get season 6 content until, say, the following year, or depending on how bad the production is, or if there's any issues with the production of the anime, it could be even longer. So I think it's good that they're starting off slow and starting with season 1 rather than jumping straight into like seasons 4 or 5.
Yep, and we could definitely talk more about that when we get to the Smash Tap portion of it, because that was an issue that they had with the first game that they dropped. One thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was, so it's 500 gems per multi, so it's the 10-unit multis. How do you guys think rates are going to be for the game?
It depends on what the rarities they want to do. Like if it's going to be multiple different types of rarities, or maybe something. I mean, if it's like Genshin, then oh my god, the rates are going to be awful. But if they do something maybe like Dokkan before the GSSR, I don't expect them to do a GSSR right away, of course. And Legends, even Legends still doesn't have that. So maybe something closer to Legends, potentially. I would say maybe.
Yeah, I
Depending on
can
the
see.
rarities they implement.
Yeah, I can see something maybe like Masters or Legends-esque, where it's like 7% chance for sparking or something along those lines. If I'm not mistaken, that is Legends' rates. I could be wrong. But I'm hoping if it's anything like it is like kind of like Masters, because I think that's one of the better rates on any gacha, where it's like 7% for sparking, and then during like their Dokkan Festival-esque celebrations, it's like they bump the rates up to 10% for the highest rarity. I think something like that would be very nice. But again, like Hydros mentioned, it's a bit too early to say. It depends on the rarities we get in the game, and overall just how the multis are formatted. Can we get, like, say, equipment for it from its, say equipment is part of the game? Can we get equipment from the gacha system, or is it completely separate on its own? So there's a lot of variables that are still yet to be determined from the game that we don't know much about.
In terms of the summoning,
True.
it is 500 gems per multi, so 500 gems you get 10 units. That comes down to 50 for a single summon. Now, in terms of how a lot of gachas work, like Legends does it, I think Masters does it, but they do it in a different way because Masters has a paid daily versus Legends is just a free daily. If they do that, that would be pretty huge. Like having a daily little single summon in there would be absolutely amazing. And I think any gacha game that has that instantly it has a good W in my book for that.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
That would be very awesome to have like a cheaper daily for the without having to use obviously paid gems like how Dragalia or Masters does it. But yeah, it would be nice to have a free, like, effectively what is a free daily, quote unquote. It just gives like an incentive to like store up like a small amount of gems and just use over time, basically.
Also, I want to go backtrack real quick to the turn based. Looking at the screenshot again, I kind of am getting an understanding maybe for how it's going to work. Each character has, I think, maybe 1 to 2 moves, and underneath the character, it does give you like first, second, third, fourth. Like in terms of the screenshot that I have going, it has Stain, not Pain, Stain, saying for it has him attacking first. And then it has attack underneath like the first where it says who's attacking at one position. It has him and it says attack. Deku is second, also attack, and so on through the rest of them. And I think when you do that, when they have this, you're going to build up like your moves. Like I said, if it has like multiple different moves, like you have like an attacking move, maybe a support type move as well, sort of like how Masters is, right? And then you also have an ultimate move at the same time. But in terms of this, maybe you're like building like maybe you're selecting your moves, and there's also a turn start. I don't know if that's just a pop-up or if it's a button. If it's a button, you can select your moves and then hit the start turn and it automatically just starts the turn and you just kind of go through all the animations and stuff. That would be pretty neat if that works that way, but I'm not sure. It looks like it's a pop-up. It may not even be a button. It literally kind of looks like one the way it's positioned, but it kind of has a kind of like a fading on it as well, so it kind of maybe is a pop-up, I think, as well. But yeah, I think it would work to where the turn based, it's not necessarily you go first, then the opponent goes you first, opponent, and back and forth. It's depending, I guess, maybe on something like speed would determine who goes first, second, third, fourth.
Yeah.
In terms of the turn base, so that'd be pretty interesting. But I just wanted to backtrack to that because I noticed that in the screenshot as well. And then also we have you get to collect special illustrations for characters, heroes, and villains. In terms of that, my thoughts on that I talked about before was maybe when you summon a character, maybe if like you awaken them and it unlocks like a special like a illustration for the character that you can like view on the home screen or the character. Or just maybe if you just summon the character, maybe if like turn the screen or something, it like or flick the screen, it like changes to an art illustration that character is kind of like based around, maybe like a specific scene that or arc that character that you're summoning for is from.
Yeah, no, it pretty much sounds like it's on the ball. I mean, it's pretty cool. It's just extra content, right? I mean, it's not really a whole lot there, but I think it's pretty cool that they are giving that out.
No, I agree. I mean, it's something that's there in the game, and I mean, like you're gonna be getting the chibi models for the characters. There has to be some extra value in terms of getting the characters, and there has to be like artwork for them. Otherwise, you're just summoning the chibi models necessarily, which I don't think is gonna happen. I think they're gonna make special artwork for all these characters, and when you summon for them, you basically get a base artwork, and maybe you can evolve it, kind of like a lot of rhythm games do this, where when you summon for the character you get basically their artwork, and then once you limit break them or evolve them or whatever it may be, their artwork kind of changes. So it could easily be similar to that in My Hero. So yeah, I'll back it. I've seen it in a lot of rhythm based games and like Bang Dream, for example, so I'll back it 100%.
Yeah, definitely cool with it. And then I'm pretty excited for the customable bases that they have going on with like the hero classroom and the villain hideout. That definitely seems that I hope you could do a lot with it, and they really explore making bases, because I love base building. Being able to do that on your phone, on the move, in a gacha game, I think that's super duper cool.
Yeah, I mean, the customizable bases remind me kind of the tavern from Grand Cross. So if it's anything like that, nice. At least as long as it isn't like a major requirement to like completely rehaul your base or something, and maybe some slight bonuses here and there, like how Grand Cross does. I'm all for it. That's completely fine for me as long as it's not like major bonuses.
Yeah, which I don't
in terms
think
of what the screenshots show, if you're looking at the villain one, it has like a jukebox that has kind of like a pop up that looks like it's gonna either give you stamina or I'm not actually sure. I'm not sure if it's gonna give you stamina or if it'll actually take stamina to do something, because it says max at the top. Maybe max is like you get like 50 stamina max from this, and then you can add it to your actual stamina and stuff. Kind of like, there's stuff like coins, max of 1,000, I guess is what this is saying. I don't know, maybe you get, like as Gail said, like bonuses as you go through the base, and you just kind of like how in Grand Cross you have Hawk, right? Or it gives you like the coin from the food and stuff like that you sell in your tavern. Stuff like that. I think that'd be something that they probably will be doing. Then they also have the USJ training area, which from the screenshot it shows one area per typing. So there's a total of 5 typings in the game. There's red, green, blue, yellow, and purple. The trio being red, green, and blue, and then the duo being red, purple, and yellow. And then each one has their own I guess each one is basically like the type training. Maybe you take your red characters into the red training area and you get your like special items, or maybe equipment or whatever drops from that, and you progress on and kind of level up your characters using that, as well as from the drops and stuff. That'd be pretty interesting. What do you guys think about the USJ training area? Do you think it's something like how Dokkan has like Dokkan event type medals? Do you think they're actually have stuff like that, or do you just think it's like kind of like a training area where you just get stuff like maybe like equipment or something?
I'm thinking. Oh, go ahead, Gail. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I think it'll be somewhat of a mix. I think it'll probably give you like awakening mats for a certain type, and obviously the potential like soul shards, kind of like how Legends has their souls in for the soul boost system. Something similar to that, I think. I'm not sure about the equipment part. We'll have to wait on and see details for that. But initial thoughts are definitely, I think this is the place you can go to get either training mats or awakening mats, basically, is my best guess.
Yeah, I'm seeing it as like you could also maybe throw your character in there and they could get like experience for an hour, kind of like how Legends does it, or how Action Time on actually does it as well. That you throw your character in there, they sit in there. You could get mats, you can get experience for your levels. For the equipment, I'm gonna say that's probably gonna be something separate entirely, which they probably haven't shown that yet. But that would be my guess that they'll probably make a side event for equipment specifically, and this will be like Gail said, training items, experience points, just stuff like that. Yep.
And in terms of what's coming up is as well, that is actually open right now, the closed beta applications. You can check out the closed beta. We'll leave a link to all that stuff in the description down below if you guys want to apply for the closed beta. I do believe you actually need to have a JP Google Play account. This is strictly Android only. It's not on iOS. But you can actually make a JP Google account is if you just either VPN or you just make a Google account. I think in the region of JP is what you need to do. So you could basically apply with that. I applied with my personal one that's in, the US, and it still accepted the application at least. So not really sure how they're going to handle it, but there is that, and participants will be picked on November 4th. And then the beta itself will be held from November 6th to the 9th. For those who are chosen, they'll choose up to a total of 7,000 people. And if there are more than 7,000 applicants, it's basically a lottery where they're just going to randomly pick up to 7,000 people. So, comparing this game to Smash Tap, or as it later was called, Smash Rising. First of all, Smash Tap and Rising, this was the first iteration of a My Hero Academia game. It started out as Smash Tap, then they redid it to Smash Rising, changed the entire mechanics of the game and stuff like that. A lot of stuff was kept, but they changed a lot of how the game actually functioned. And ultimately, Smash Tap and Rising failed. They shut down the game. So why do you guys think that they actually failed with that game?
MHA is a story that connects with more Americans because it's superhero based. So it not being released in the West was a huge misstep for Bandai, in my opinion, because they could have gotten so much money out of the American and Western audience, in my opinion. So that's, I think, the biggest failure. More than, I mean, yes, the change from Tap to Rising was bad, but initially not releasing Tap in the first place in the West was a huge misstep, in my opinion.
Yep.
So, in the tops of talking about there not being a global version, do you guys think that there will be a global version of this game? Because Smash Tap and Rising were developed by Bandai Namco, and this new one, Ultra Impact, is developed by the same company, Bandai Namco. So, do you think Bandai will learn that about their failure with Smash Tap and Rising and bring it to the West because they know that it's going to be popular over here? We're on the fourth season, and I'm sure they know at this point.
They have to know. They have to know that it's popular in the West more than it is in Japan. It's not even a question that they should bring it over to the global side. It's just a matter of if they've learned from their mistakes and are willing to admit that, that we made a mistake and that we didn't release it. I really hope it is also a simultaneous release, because any longer than like a couple of weeks is going to be a huge misstep, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I hope they do, of course, because it's My Hero, dude. Like we said, the States love superheroes. So once they drop this over here, it's going to start making money. But Bandai is a very money-centered company. So they're probably going to start seeing the money first over in the Japan region, of course. And then they'll probably make the decision to bring it over, kind of like how they've done with most of their gacha games. But in a perfect world, yeah, simultaneous release would be fantastic. And they'll probably make triple the money. It's easy money. 100% if they brought it over here too. It'll probably make more money here than Japan.
Honestly, the one thing that I do think, this is something that Nolar and I spoke about a couple of, I think it was a week ago. Even if there isn't a global version, they should make it like how Grand Blue Fantasy is. And what Grand Blue Fantasy does is it allows you to, in the game itself, change the language. Let us do that. Fine. If you don't want to release it on the Google Play Store or whatever, let us be able to download it. Once we can download it, let us change the language in game, and that's also fine. But there needs to be something or the other at launch, or at least some information regarding a potential global version. Because if you look at games like Grand Cross, Dokkan, FGO, these have been affected sometimes negatively from being delayed massively because they have a 6-month gap, or in the case of FCO, 2-year gaps.
Yeah, no, FCO's the worst.
So yeah, I mean, no, there's some positives, of course, when there is a gap between the games, in that you know what's coming. So as a free-to-play player, you know what you want to summon for, kind of thing. But at the end of the day, you won't be as hyped as when it officially first drops in, like, universally it drops at the same time or something like that, So again, there are pros to it being later, but I think the cons far outweigh the pros, in my opinion, for a separated release. So hopefully there is a either simultaneous or within the same month, basically, one or the other.
Will there be PvP or will there be co-op? What do you guys think?
I'm
okay.
all right. I like the idea of casual 3v3. I'll put my hand up and say that I absolutely like. I've learned this from playing tons of different gachas in the last 4 or 5 years of my gacha career, quote unquote. I've noticed that pick up and play games always are better when it comes to gacha games. You see games like Grand Cross, Danmachi, and other gachas which implement PvP, they just don't end up doing well because they're the way people have to summon for consistently on banners, and have to either focus entirely on, and then on top of that, the banners themselves are become more and more focused around PvP. Sometimes the balance is very off. You don't have fun anymore. It can go haywire a lot quicker if there's PvP or anything of that sort. So the idea of a casual 3v3 is very good. And when I say casual 3v3, I'm assuming that there is no PvP in the game. I assume there may be co-op. I don't see PvP being in the game if they're promoting this whole casual 3v3 aspect. Either way, looks good. Off the foundations we've seen so far and the images, it does look good in my opinion. And yeah, as I said, hopefully no PvP. Co-op, I'm down for. I think co-op is always very nice in gacha games.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think PvP would work well for this game because it seems like a very casual pickup type of deal, and I don't really care for PvP style content and gacha games, to be honest, anyways. But I do think there will be co-op. I'm sure you're going to be able to bring friends for, like, maybe somewhere down the line they'll introduce raids or stuff like that. So that could definitely be an option. I'm not crazy about the turn-based, but again, if they make it like how Gail's been mentioning it, kind of like how they've done it in Masters and stuff like that, I think it would be fine. Don't really have any issues with that. It looks pretty good. Again, no PvP, please. I don't think we need another PvP gacha game. I really enjoy just, the PvE content. Does definitely make a cool co-op mode. But other than that, no, it looks pretty cool so far, and I'm excited to jump into it.
Yeah, I'm not thrilled about a PvP game.
Yeah.
I really don't want it. If it's implemented well, fine. I'll maybe try it out, but I'm not a fan of PvP. Co-op is usually fun, as you said, maybe like a raid type thing. As we've seen in the screenshot, you can also fight singular bosses. So that maybe they can make like one single boss have like a huge amount of XP, and you're just going in there with like your friend or something and just trying to tear through it and see what happens. Maybe get like some extra special drops. Maybe something to where maybe like Grand Cross has like I've talked about this final boss thing in multiple gachas already. I think at this point, I think I mentioned it with the Genshin stuff, but with final boss, maybe they'll have like a sort of ranking system, like reward type stuff for that. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't mind that either. I do like the final boss in Grand Cross because it gives me a little bit of a extra something to do. Get cool rewards like costumes and stuff. So I wouldn't mind something like that. In terms of how units work, the main thing that I think that most people will be concerned about, since it is a gacha, is a dupe system. Will there be one? Like, how many would it take to fully max out a unit? What kind of, will it give you buffs or will it give you stats? Maybe like, will it be like a potential system, kind of like, how Dokkan has the nodes, or maybe like ultimate levels like Grand Cross, maybe just pull multiples and increases your ult level. That will kind of tie into like that combo attack, right? The higher ult levels you have, the more powerful it becomes, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Or, maybe something like Legends, to where they have like the star system and you get the buffs and the ability bonuses as you increase your dupe system, right? So what do you guys think that they could do? What do you think is more realistic that they could do?
I think it'll probably be ultimate levels is definitely going to be there. I think it'll probably be 5. So you'll start at 1 out of 5, kind of like FCO. I would say
Yeah,
come out and say
5
that.
sounds
It'll be
good.
like F go 1 out of 5. You need 4 more dupes to pretty much max out your ultimate level. I doubt there will be a potential system. I don't see many games doing that these days. I think Dokkan and Legends. I mean, Legends is kind of potential system is based on just getting more stars, and the soul
Well, they have
boost
the
is, I
soul
guess,
boost, yeah. The soul
but
boost
that's
is the
not
equivalent
really.
to like the potential in Dokkan.
It's not necessarily a potential system because it doesn't rely on dupes. So, but I see what you mean. Apart from Dokkan and Legends, you don't see games doing potential systems. However, I do believe that there will be buffs for when you say increase your ultimate level. So for every dupe you add, you might get 100 attack speed, defense, and HP, or something like that, basically.
Just to jump back in, they could do like how they've been doing with Bleach Brave Souls, which seems to be like the easiest, which is kind of like how Smash that did it, I guess, with like the stats. And BBS basically made a new system where every dupe that you get, you could like your stats could go through the roof, dude. Like it's insane how much more stats you get. So yeah, that's definitely an easier system that they could do and implement into this game versus like a potential system. I think that would work.
But, you know, I feel like it'll just be like an ult level, which I think that is actually what that in Smash Tap was. If anyone has played Smash Tap, let us know down in the comments, because I don't specifically really remember too much about that, because, you know, I played like Smash Tap a couple months before they actually swapped to Rising, but I did play it quite a bit. But from what I do remember, whenever you fed dupes, that little level did increase. So I don't remember if that was like a super attack or a special attack, whatever that was. I'm not actually sure. Do you guys think there will be equipment? And what type, like, where do you think we're going to get equipment? Do you think they'll have something like how Genshin has, like, you know, the weapon-based banner? And just to give a little insight onto how Smash Tap worked, they had, like, quote-unquote accessories, right, that you put on your characters. And even the accessories had pull rates, and so did the characters. And I'm looking at the pull rates, and they were not fun.
No, they
so
weren't. They
a
were
5-star was 5%, 4-star was 35%, and the 3-star was 60%. I'm kind of thinking if they do implement the system similar to Smash Tap, it'll probably be like that. They'll probably have that kind of starring system, I would assume. So, you know, in terms of accessories, do you think they'll put it on a banner, and do you think they'll put it on banners with characters?
I think they'll switch it up. I think they'll probably have, you know, a banner just for characters and then another one for equipment. That's typically what like BBS has been doing, and I think it works because when you put both together, we've seen Nolar summon videos and it hurts. So
Yeah.
hopefully they kind of switch it up and have 2 different banners. And of course, I hope they do make events where you could actually grind free to play equipment. That would be pretty cool. So that way, you know, you're able to target a free to play audience, and then of course you put all the really nice shiny ones behind a banner. But yeah, I think there will be equipment in it, no doubt about it.
I
So
think for
speaking of the
just for
free to play, I think Smash Tap, the
yeah,
banner for accessories was based on gold, not actual like gems that you like, not the
gems, yeah.
premium currency.
Yeah,
It wasn't the premium
Mhm.
currency. I just want to put that in there. Go ahead, go.
Using gold to summon is not a bad thing, in my opinion. Well, most of the time, depending on the cost, I think also, and how easy it is to get the equipment, I suppose. So yeah, I'm down for it. I just think primarily they should focus on making equipment farmable, and then if they decide to add certain equipment or accessories via a gold banner or something, that's also fine, I think. But just don't put it on like a gem banner or anything of that sort.
So
That's the one thing I will say. Like, yeah, Grand Cross had had the gold banner, but the problem that I hope if they decide to do a gold banner is the cost of using gold in Grand Cross is a lot higher because you have to use it for awakening, and it costs like ridiculous amounts of gold to even do stuff like that. So I wouldn't
I think
mind it
Grand
in
Cross is an
here.
extreme case.
Yeah, Grand Cross is a very extreme case, but it's good to point it out right now rather than hope it not happen, but or say how it shouldn't be like, basically, is what I mean.
Right.
What I hope, if MHA does decide to do a gold banner, its cost of like training units and stuff needs to be a lot less, or just the right amount to the point where you can invest into the gear banner, because there's so many times where I may want to invest into the gear banner, but I need to also save up gold to like awaken units and stuff. So I shouldn't have to decide that. I should be like, all right, I can save some up for the gear banner, but I have to also use it here, kind of thing. I shouldn't be forced to, oh, I need to save my gold only for awakening units, or I should save my gold only for like summoning on the gear banner, kind of thing.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
I think the accessories will be farmable. But
Yeah.
in the next thing, one of the final things we want, the other final things is outfits. Do you think they'll actually implement outfits, or do you just think they'll implement like different cards, like seasonal cards, as you mentioned earlier? Do you think they'll actually just do that? In my opinion, I think they'll do seasonal cards versus outfits. But outfits are in some gacha games are becoming rather common. So kind of interesting to see if maybe they'll do that versus like implementing like just different
Hmm.
cards.
Okay, so
Cool.
seasonals 100% are happening. No doubt about it. We will get swimsuit banners, rainy day banners, Christmas, Thanksgiving. I don't care what we're going to have so many seasonal banners in this game. But in terms of just regular outfits, I think they could definitely still do that with like, different school uniforms. Maybe, they could swap out for a different outfit where they get like a different stat boost or something like that. I don't think that will be locked behind a gotcha system, but maybe it'll be more like how I don't really play many games with the outfits, so maybe you guys could chime in on that. But like, I think an easy way of doing that would be like maybe using like in-game currency to buy an outfit that gives you some extra speed or attack boost. But I think that will be separate from seasonal units. I think they'll definitely 100% be dropping seasonal units in that game.
I think seasonal units have to happen more than outfits. I think the only case I've seen outfits in, at least off the top of my head, recently. Well, technically, FGO has outfits, but not much changes when you put on outfits. I think only the only unit that has an outfit change that changes her like skill set is probably Mash. But
Yeah.
in terms of like the biggest case I was going to point out was Grand Cross. Grand Cross, you have to actually either use our real life money to buy the outfits, or use, I think it's 30 gem per piece effectively to buy the outfits, and they give stat boosts basically. I really hope that's not the case, because I just feel that's incentivizing people to buy more, and it's not. I just don't want to be forced to decide whether I should buy outfits or whether I should summon for my favorite units, kind of thing, you know. So I hope it's more so seasonal units than outfits, personally. But I think in terms of, the thing is with outfits is that if they do seasonal units, they can immediately just put the outfits on the chibi models. Yes, you'll have to use a unit that may not have the same abilities as another unit you may want to use, or say there's one Deku, there's normal Deku and there's swimsuit Deku. Swimsuit Deku might not be as good as Deku, but you might want to use swimsuit Deku because you like him in a swimsuit for some reason.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that I can see as being a problem. But I still believe seasonal units overall is just a better concept than having to buy outfits, with gems or real life money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't see this game doing well with outfits just because the chibi characters. I don't think it would look really, really good with that. But yeah, I don't think outfits will happen. But in terms of how this game is going to be, do you think that this game will focus towards at least having a style to where free to play players are going to enjoy the game? It's not going to be heavily, whale based. Do you think it's going to have, if people are going to easily be able to farm? They're going to have, do you think they're going to have at least a good amount of free to play units potentially? I know that Smash Tap had about a good free to play units that you could farm. That's one thing I liked about Smash Tap. And do you think that, they will consider, keeping that kind of mindset when this game does come out?
I think it's extremely possible that, as I mentioned at the start of the video, events need to be a thing in the game, and I think drop free to play units with those events. I think that's the best way to do it. It allows people to get potentially characters they want, especially special seasonal outfits from there, or seasonal units from there. um I'm really hoping they do push more free to play units. I think, like, for example, if they just pick up from like how Dokkan's been doing with their free to play units in recent couple of months slash in the last year or so, that's good enough for me, because Dokkan has been doing a good job with their free to play units, and if they just kind of take up some of what they've been doing, we should be in for a good time with at least free to play units in MHA at least.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it will be pretty free to play friendly, especially given like the combat system. Yeah, I think they'll have a bunch of units that you could farm up. I'm sure when the game drops, they'll have plenty of units that you could probably get. I'm sure they'll be gifting units left and right when the game actually drops. So I want to say it'll be pretty free to play friendly.
All right. I think that covers mainly everything that we want to talk about here today. Do you guys have any other final thoughts that you want to kind of sneak in there? Maybe anything that we didn't talk about that you just kind of want to give like a opinion on real quick?
Yeah, swimsuit Mountain Lady when.
That's
No.
the one needs to be.
Yeah,
done.
that has to be the first summary that we get. No, I'll just add on by saying, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. As I said, it's one of the two gachas I'm looking forward to the most, Demon Slayer and this, pretty much. So have some hopes for it. Have some hopes for it. Hopefully it does well, and hopefully you guys enjoy the game as well when it does come out as well.
Yep. Same thing here, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. And Hydros, actually, thank you for having us come on, man. Definitely want to throw that in there as well. Thanks for taking the time of making this video. I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy this, and definitely let us know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this, and we could definitely get something like this going again on the channel.
Yeah, if you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to drop a like down below. Subscribe to 5-9 Gaming if you have not already. Make sure to hit that bell so you don't miss on any future videos that we have going on as well. And, you know, thanks to Gale and Gacha Talks for joining me on today's video. You can check out all the links in the description down below that we did mention, as well as their links in the description down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one.
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.